The Pearl Girl by Stephen Rabley. Text copyright Stephen Rabley, 2008. Recording copyright Pearson Education Limited, 2008. Kate Grant is 15 and comes from Canada. She is visiting the Netherlands with her mother and father. On June 8th, the Grants are at a museum in The Hague. "This is very good," Mr. Grant says. He is looking at a picture of an old man. "Yes," Mrs. Grant says. "What do you think, Kate?" "It's okay," Kate says. She looks at her watch. It is 4:45. Two minutes later, she sees a picture of a young girl with an earring. Kate smiles. She loves earrings. She looks at the girl's face. "Who are you?" she thinks. "What are you looking at?" "That's a very famous picture," Mrs. Grant says. A sign next to it says, "Girl with a pearl earring." "It's beautiful," Kate says. At 4:58, the Grants are drinking coffee near the museum. "Julia, do you have the guidebook?" Mr. Grant asks. "No, Carl, you have it," Mrs. Grant says. They look for the guidebook in their bags. Then Mr. Grant says, "Oh no, I remember now. It's on a chair near Girl with a Pearl Earring. My passport is in that book." Kate gets up quickly. "Stay here," she says. "I can find it." Kate runs to the museum. A guard is closing the door. "Stop," Kate says. "My father's passport is in the museum." "I'm sorry, but we close at 5 o'clock, the guard says. A sign on his shirt says, "Paul Van Dyke." "Please," Kate says. "It's very important." The guard looks at his watch, then at Kate. "Okay," he says and smiles. "Come with me." Kate goes into the museum with Paul Van Dyke. It is dark, and there aren't any people in the rooms. "Where is the passport?" Paul asks. "Do you know?" "Yes, it's on a chair near that picture of a girl with an earring," Kate says. They walk for a minute. Then Paul Van Dyke stops. "Shush," he says. "I can hear voices." Kate looks at Paul. He isn't smiling now. Then she hears voices too. Be very, very quiet, Paul says. He takes a phone from his coat pocket, but suddenly there are two men in the room. One is tall and has a big black bag in his hands. The short man has a gun. They look at Kate and Paul. Kate and Paul look at the men. Time stops. Put your phone on the floor, the short man says. Now. His voice is cold. No, Paul says. Suddenly, there is a bang. Paul falls down and says, My leg. Kate looks at him. Get the girl, says the tall man. The short man puts his cold hand across Kate's mouth. She is very scared. Come with us, he says. A minute later, Kate and the thieves are in a small street behind the museum. They get into a car, and the tall thief drives very quickly for 30 minutes. The men don't talk. Kate is on the floor. She can see a picture in the black bag. It is Girl with a Pearl Earring. Where are we going? She thinks. Then she looks up and sees a sign. It says, Amsterdam 10. At 5:40, the car stops. Get up, the short thief says. His voice is very quiet. He opens the car door. The gun is under his coat. Smile, he says. Kate is scared, but she smiles. There are people in the street. She can see a boat. Its name is the Black Dog. The cold gun is next to her back. The tall thief is behind them with his black bag